Dear listeners, this coming holiday of Shavuos, we'll read in the Shul the Seres HaDibros, the 10 Commandments that were given to our people at Mount Sinai. The first two commandments are Anochi Hashem Elokecha. The Eternal says, I'm the Lord your God who has taken you out from Egypt. And the second commandment is Lo yeh lecha Elohim acherim al ponai. Shall not have other gods before me. And these two commandments, the first one, the positive commandment of believing in God, and the second commandment is the negative one of not having other gods, usually go together. One may ask, isn't it self-evident that if one believes in the Eternal, that He has taken out the Jewish people from Egypt, isn't it obvious or self-evident that He will not have other gods? Why is it necessary, after the Torah emphasizes the necessity of believing in God, to mention again, do not have other gods? A number of years ago, I was present at a wedding, and I made a speech in which I mentioned the necessity of a fearing God. At that wedding was present a member of the Freemasons of France who had fairly high positions in the Masons, and he turned to me and asked, how come you Orthodox rabbis speak about the fear of God, while we speak about love? Fear is a negative quality that limits and shrinks the personality of an individual, while love expands and makes an individual grow. Why do you emphasize fear of God? I remember I told him then, you know very cases of two young people who are deeply in love with each other. And they're sincere about their love, and they're convinced that this love will stay forever, that nothing will ever come between them to hurt or destroy that love. Nevertheless, after a few years, it happens that this love is transformed into a hatred which is much stronger than the original love. What's the reason for that strange transformation? They seem to have been sincere with their first feeling of love for each other. What has happened? The answer is that it was love without fear. Love is a very delicate and vulnerable flower that has to be cultivated and has to be accompanied by constant fearfulness that one might say something or do something or act in a way that might impair or hurt or minimize that love. One has to be constantly careful not to do anything that might hurt that love. And because it is love without fear, when the fear is missing, the love gets weaker and weaker and eventually disappears. Love has to be accompanied by fear of not hurting that love. Belief in God, belief in the Eternal, is the most sublime, the highest form of expression of the Jewish soul. And it's a very positive attitude, but it has to be accompanied constantly by a fear, by a fearfulness of not doing anything that might hurt or minimize or impair that belief in the Eternal. That's why the Torah always mentioned believing God goes together with not having other gods, which means not doing anything, not engaging in any kind of activity or association that might weaken that believe in the eternal. So that it's necessary, after we know that Anochi Hashem Elokecha, that the Lord has taken you out of Egypt, it's absolutely necessary to make sure you have no other gods, which means, in other words, not to do anything that can impair or hurt that believe in the eternal. Have a good Shabbos.